Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and I am here with Tyler Bevel.
Hey.
And Nick Hunsicker.
What's going on?
And our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
This is our Week 5 Thursday Night Football, Sunday morning, and Sunday 1 o'clock game slate preview. We got a three-man show today with Tyler and Nick and myself. This is the first time with all three of us. This ought to be a great time. So let's start off with our top three list. Top three favorite running backs of all time. Tyler, go ahead.
Jerome Bettis, the bus, number one. I'm going to go Barry Sanders, number two. Just watching him play, it was crazy. And number three, I'm going to go Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas. I love it.
Those are my three.
Love that call.
Love those Bills, like with Jim Kelly and Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas. Like, I just loved rooting for him when I was a kid. So
awesome era.
Thurman Thomas for sure.
I always said that if I wasn't an Eagles fan, I would be a Buffalo fan. Just from a kid growing up with Jim Kelly and, like you said, Thurman Thomas and all those guys, man. That was just a wild team. I always rooted for the Bills.
Josh Allen brought me back.
Did he?
Yeah, because I really hated him for a long time after they took Doug Flutie out of that playoff game and put Rob Johnson in. I held that against them for a long time.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
So Josh Allen brought me back where I'm rooting for the Bills again, but
that was a garbage move.
It was.
I remember that. Mitchell, what do you got?
I'm a homer, so I got to go with Jerome Bettis.
Of course. I knew we were going to get Jerome Bettis twice.
It's got to happen. Man. I guess I'm going to go with Marshawn Lynch, man. Beast mode.
Yeah.
Some of those highlight clips, man. Some of my favorite plays to watch was that, man, him throwing people to the ground.
Yeah. It was great.
And D'Angelo Williams.
All right. Right on. How about you, Nick? What you got?
Yeah, I've got LaShawn McCoy, cut on a dime. I used to love watching him. He had one of the best first cuts I've ever seen. Marshall Faulk, the all-purpose back, one of the first to really be the all-purpose back.
Sure.
And then Jamal Charles, watching him do the 2,000-yard season was so fun.
That's an awesome list. I love Jamal Charles. And you're right. Dude was the first do-it-all kind of back. Mm-hmm. My top three is, number one, I'm going to go with LaDainian Tomlinson. I loved watching him run the football, man. He was so awesome. Barry Sanders is my two. Grew up watching him. He was he was the best of the best. Nobody was better than Barry Sanders. And number three is a homer one, but I'm going with Brian Westbrook. I loved him in that Andy Reid offense. He was just so much fun to watch. Easily my favorite Eagles running back of all time. Easily. All right, let's move on to some games here. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. Buccaneers, the Falcons. Hate Thursday Night Football games so much for fantasy purposes and quite honestly to watch. They always seem to be somewhat dreadful. Do you agree, Ty?
For sure.
Mike Evans, questionable with a knee and calf issue, but was limited at practice Tuesday. Seems like he has a good chance to suit up. So, Godwin or Evans this week, assuming that Evans is a go. Tyler?
Give me Evans this week. Terrell worries me a little bit, but you don't know if he's genuinely going to be with Evans either. I mean, it's...
I think he tends to shadow, so I'm not sure
who do you pick?
Who he's going to pick.
Right.
I would assume that he picks Mike Evans.
If Evans is healthy, give me Evans still.
Okay, I will... I'm gonna go ahead with the notion that he probably shadows Evans. I went Evans last week after 2 Godwin games. I went Evans. I'm going to go Godwin this week. I think AJ Terrell, generally speaking, he's shadowing the one, and I'd have to say Mike Evans is considered the one. Nick, do you have anything to weigh in on that?
No, I like it. I think you can flex both of them.
Even receiver too.
Yeah, you can receiver two, either one. They're both producing. I'm taking both of them, even against AJ Terrell. They're going to get them the ball.
Okay. Yeah, I think. To me, you're going to call it a receiver. I think they're both receiver twos, really. But because of the way a lot of drafts went, I think there's a good chance that they're your third best option, right? So, yeah, high end flex, very high end flex. And with bye weeks coming, they're at 2. So, Rashad White or Bucky Irving. So, who's going to walk away with the better week here? Atlanta defense is 12th against the running back position. What do you think, Ty?
Give me Bucky Irving this week.
Yeah, boy, it's getting awful hard not to lean that way. It's just, it's, you watch it and you hate to base it all off that, but when you're watching these two run side by side, it's Bucky.
Yeah, and I think eventually you're going to hit a turning point. So I'm going to go with Bucky this week. I just think he'll have the better performance.
So both flexes?
Yeah, I'm not really thrilled about.
And run on the Falcons.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I still think it's very much a timeshare. Like I don't think Rashad White isn't involved this game. So, I guess it's going to be close, but I think if I give that nod to Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I would go Bucky Irving. I think they're both flexes.
Even if you're just going off the potential of a big run, I think there's a better chance for Bucky Irving to break out and have something happen versus Rashad White.
I 1000% agree. Let's move on to Cade Otton. Had 4 total targets in the first 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 8 and 9 targets. Tyler, you think this is something that we should lean into?
Yeah. You worry a little bit about like the mouths to feed in this offense at a certain point. Like how can they keep it going? But that many targets, I definitely have some serious interest in Cade Otton. Baker Mayfield's playing quarterback as good as anybody in the league right now. Yeah, I think lean into it a little bit for sure.
I don't think it's a bad call. I hate to say it. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying the phrase tight end blank. I'm not saying it. I'm just not going to say it today. But
tight end agriculture.
Yeah. Listen, buys are starting up. Tight end's tough, man. You could do worse than Cade Otton, I think.
If he's going to get you 8 or 9 targets?
Yeah. I wonder what's changed that's making that. There wasn't a whole lot of time for me to jump into Cade Otton, but I just wonder what's caused that shift because it was pretty sudden, and now we're back to back 8 and 9 targets. Yeah, I think lean into that a little bit. Cousins or Baker this week?
Baker
all day. I think that's consensus with everybody. I don't think we even need to dive into that. You're starting Drake London. Interest level and flexing Mooney or McLeod, Ty?
Not much. I like McLeod in a PPR, but man, I could totally see this being a 13-17 Thursday night game. So I'm not excited about it. I would try to find a better option in the Sunday slate of games.
If you had to pick one,
give me Ray McLeod.
I think I'm going to go big playability potential with I think I'll go Mooney. Again, you're flexing a guy where it could just take one ball. So I'm going to go Mooney. What do you got, Nick?
Yeah, I like Mooney. I'm going Mooney. He got 6 targets last week. He only came down with 3 of them, but he's a lot better than the next guy we're going to talk about as far as target shares go.
Yeah. What are we doing with Pitts?
You're done with them. I mean, we talked about it last week. We're done with Kyle Pitts. Tell
everybody what you found, Nick.
So there's a video of all of his targets from this season. He's double teamed and triple teamed in a lot of them, and even when he goes to try to beat a double team, he can't win off the line. He can't overpower a linebacker. He can't beat press corners. He can't create any opportunities for Cousins to get him the ball. And when there is time for Cousins to get him the ball, he's trying, but there's still no separation for it to happen. You have to fade Kyle Pitts at this point.
Can you cut him?
You don't want to.
Because you really
don't want to. You drafted him so high thinking Kirk Cousins was going to get him the ball.
Yeah.
And now you're afraid to do anything with him.
Right.
If you can try to trade him for anything, you might want to do that.
You almost got to wait for him to hit a little before you can do.
Who wants him?
I know.
Maybe a Michael Pittman owner, but then Michael Pittman might have something going for him now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I don't know. I saw the videos that you had sent me some, and you sent me essentially what you were just talking about. I have to agree. I mean, it looks bad. He's not physical enough to deal with linebackers. He's not crafty enough to deal with any corners, really. And again, separation's a problem. And they're blanketing him. They're targeting him, and they're not letting him. Defenses are like, you're not scoring on us. You could see that in some of the videos you sent. I mean, it was immediate blanketing Kyle Pitts. They're just trying to completely remove him from the equation, and he can't handle it. A lot of tight ends can handle that. You know, someone like Travis Kelce, someone like even like Dallas Goedert doesn't have that hard of a time getting open. There's just there's a lot of options there, and I don't know how well tight ends fit in this offense or have over the last few years.
I'm not making excuses for Kyle Pitts fantasy wise, and I love Dallas Goedert. He has never got the attention that Kyle Pitts has had.
No, but I feel like when you get
Travis Kelce has, like, I am 100% in agreement that he is that tight end that can still make things happen when he has guys, like you said, just swarming him. 97.8% of the tight ends in the league have never had that happen.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I don't know. I'm just saying Dallas Goedert finds a way to get open.
He does, for sure.
And Kyle Pitts can't.
Right.
So I don't know. You hate to be like, this isn't Pitt's fault, but when is it his fault?
It doesn't really matter. It's
Yeah.
not good for your fantasy team right now.
Right. I like the idea of flipping him for Pittman, maybe. I don't know. No, I don't. The problem is everyone else sees what we're seeing.
Do it right now.
Everybody
Flacco's
sees
got to
it.
start.
Yeah. Let's move on to Bijan here, the running backs for Atlanta. He's questionable with a hamstring. Hamstrings nag. I'm concerned that they could be easy on him
Oh, yeah.
with this hamstring.
Hamstring injury. Seemed like he was a little bit faded last week. Maybe it was nagging him during that game. Thursday night game, short week. Give me Tyler Algier.
Yeah. So you're thinking another subpar week on deck here for
Yeah,
for
I don't
Bijan.
think it's a heavy usage. Short week like that, if it was already nagging him in the last game, not saying it's going to happen, but I think there's a high potential for it to
Boy,
happen.
does this hurt those that drafted Bijan, because he is not putting out what you hoped. Like, not really even close.
Mitchell with
I
the
don't want to
frowning
talk
face.
about it.
I'm sorry, Mitchell.
It's okay.
That was still a steal for Dynasty.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's
okay.
going to be fine, Mitchell.
Yeah,
It's going to work
yeah.
out.
Last week, Algier got heavier usage. I looked into that a little bit, and maybe it was like a hamstring thing, but they ran between the tackles a lot. And I just think at the end of the day, that's Algier's wheelhouse. I mean, he's a bigger, stronger, thicker back than what Bijan is. But even then, you think like, well, Bijan can run between the tackles.
For
So
sure.
I don't know. If that's,
It's actually surprising to me. I did say at the beginning of the season that Algier's not going anywhere, but I did not expect it to be. Now, they didn't run the ball a lot last week, but still.
okay. That's it for that one. Let's move on to the London game. The Jets at the Vikings. I hate London games worse than Thursday night games. Tyler,
Yeah.
they're the worst.
Now, Brazil games are the worst.
Oh yeah,
That one was actually not bad, though. I
Yeah,
can't really even
yeah.
say that.
yeah, yeah. That's just, I don't know, man. It's a real thing. Like, it's a real trend. We talked about this several podcasts ago, but this is a real trend. Scoring is just so down through the floor in these games. It's either like a 12-6 game, or it's like 32-3. And one team is just benefiting and the other one's giving you nothing. Aaron Rodgers, questionable. Said his knee's a little swollen. He feels a little beat up after the Denver game. They're downplaying anything serious. It sounds like he's playing. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a problem at all.
Probably just arthritis.
Yeah, he's a little old. I mean, he's 40. Both tough defenses. Low scoring game in order, I think, when you consider the defenses,
Travel.
the travel, the combination of like the low scoring trend that goes on in London games. Like, I'm concerned about this game.
Yeah. Were you even excited about it if it was a Sunday game, though? Like, it's.
Jets Vikings? I don't know. All right. We can make this easy.
That Jets Broncos was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't want to watch any more Jets football if I don't have to.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
We'll make this quick and easy. Outside of Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, and Garrett Wilson, who do you start in this matchup? They're all obvious starts. Is there anybody else that you start in this matchup?
Yeah, give me Braylon Allen.
I'm going to start Braylon Allen here.
Yeah, I'd flex him if there's a league where I have to flex him this week, actually.
There's a league where he's my RB2 this week. I don't have a choice.
If you're staying out of that group, I think it's give me Braylon Allen. Yeah.
All right.
You said Addison too, correct?
I did not say Addison.
So Braylon Allen or Jordan Addison.
Is that it?
Two?
Do you think there's nobody else? I mean, are you starting any of the passers?
No.
I would prefer not to. I mean, I would really like to stay away from this. I don't know. Maybe, Nick, do you have something?
I don't know. I know it's a scary game because it's London. It's 9:00 in the morning for us. I get it.
Tough defenses,
but Aaron Rodgers can probably do something. And Sam Darnold's the QB1. Come on now. You got to respect Sam Darnold.
I guess.
I
hate London games.
I know, I get it, but who knows? Maybe this is the one. I'm too hopeful because it's Sam Darnold and he's my boy right now. But also, Aaron Rodgers is going up against a bad pass defense for the Vikings. He could probably take advantage of it.
I mean, if it's Aaron Rodgers,
right? As long as this knee is okay,
it sounds fine.
Yeah, it should be. It
sounds like just I'm 40 and I need a minute.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds
and
like.
That's fair.
Okay, and we do like Addison also, I believe. You got to take the guy opposite of Justin Jefferson when you're talking about Sauce Gardner, right?
Yeah.
The targets weren't crazy for Addison. He just banked hard off of the little work he got.
There's a receiver that I'm not worried about as much with Sauce Gardner. It's Justin Jefferson, though.
Yeah, but you still have to limit expectations a little as per like what the usual would be.
Yeah, maybe.
But still, the thing is, like Justin Jefferson could still drop a 20 bomb here.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay, let's move on to the Sunday 1:00 games, and we will start with the Panthers at the Bears. Could this possibly be a Caleb game?
No.
Not at all. Tell me why.
Possibly, but I don't think it is.
Is Caleb going to have a Caleb game at all this year?
I hope so.
Man, I really hope he does. So you don't think against the Panthers that this could be?
I don't know. Just even last week, like
feels like they're better at stopping the pass than they are stopping the run. It almost feels like you can run all over them, but they can hold their own against the pass.
I'm not even blaming Caleb Williams though. Like that kid has no protection whatsoever.
No, he doesn't.
It is a serious problem.
I think the biggest problem is Matt Eberflus. To me, that's the biggest problem. I don't know. I saw something today that Nick sent me. That was alarming. It was a route thing. It was what did you send, Nick? It was DJ Moore before and now with Eberflus and the routes he ran, and there was somebody else too.
Yeah, I forget who it was compared to, but the route chart just like disappears. It was JSN for the Seahawks.
Okay.
JSN. It was with Waldron.
That's okay.
The OC.
Well, okay, that's right.
So JSN before Waldron left was running like 3 routes all game, and now he's all over the field. He's everywhere.
He's with Grubb.
Yeah. That's now put DJ Moore in this category of like he's not getting open. It's not everybody because we see it with Rome Odunze is able to get open. If Keenan Allen was healthy, 100%, I think he would get a lot more open. They're just not giving DJ Moore the routes.
And that I wish people could see this photo. The photo is absolutely alarming.
Yeah, I mean,
it's insane.
Before Waldron, it's like spaghetti strings all over the place, and then there's 4 routes that he runs now.
What?
So like he's all over the field before, not to be seen now.
And it looks like JSN's.
It's
the same-
identical.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like one goes out. It's more like a fade sort of.
So I misspoke. It's not an Eberflus problem. This is a Shane Waldron.
It's a Waldron problem, right?
So this could be like an all year problem here as far as like DJ Moore goes. And that, again, I've said before, because I really thought we were going to see something wild out of DJ Moore this year. It felt right. It felt really good. And looks like Waldron's going to step all over this thing. And that sucks. No questionable tag for Keenan Allen. Seems to be over the heel injury. So, I mean, that's not going to hurt Caleb's odds, I guess, and the offense's odds in general. Tyler. So let's do something here called start, flex, sit. You are going to start one. You are going to consider one of. So when we say start one, he's a receiver 2 that you have to pick. Then you have to pick one that you consider flex, and you have to sit one. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunes, start, flex, sit.
Start Keenan Allen, flex DJ Moore, sit Roma Dunes.
Yeah, you got the same exact as me. Nick as well. We're all feeling the same. So maybe Keenan Allen shines a little this week.
I agree with Nick on like the separation. Like the routes are alarming there, but like Keenan Allen just always finds a way to get separation.
Well, they were for DJ Moore, so that's the concern is actually like primarily him.
Right.
It's like, why are you? I don't understand. It makes no sense. This is not a problem for whatever reason for Allen and the Dunes, correct? So what are you doing? So looking at that, man, and a healthy Keenan Allen, he's the best receiver on this team when he's healthy. Let's not get it messed up. Yeah, I agree. And Nick does too. It's Allen as a start, so wide receiver 2, you hope. And then DJ Moore flex and sit in the Dunes. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good call. Trust in DeAndre Swift this week.
Some.
Carolina's defense is 31st against running backs. So
Yeah, this offensive line just concerns me. That's my hold up there. But no,
Yeah.
I do like DeAndre Swift this week. I think he's a good play.
yeah, I mean, I think you kind of have to, right? You're going to bench Swift against the Panthers. I mean,
It doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
No. Touchdown dependent, deeper league flex consideration for Roschon Johnson.
14 man and up.
14 man and up.
Yeah.
And again, like touchdown dependent.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think that hurts DeAndre Swift's value, though. It definitely seems like they want to use Roschon Johnson down by the goal line.
Okay. And I want to be clear, too, on the start flex sit that we just did. We are not calling Keenan Allen a wide receiver 2 this week. All we're saying is it's essentially how are they finishing in order? And we're going Allen, Moore, Roma Dunes, and I think that's across the board for all three of us, right?
Yep.
Okay. How are we feeling about Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette against the Bears D-backs?
Flex Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, I phase him a little bit.
Okay.
Just for this week.
All right. I personally would like to fade them both if I can. I understand you might not be able to. If you have Deontay Johnson and you're like, well, the buys are hitting me, like you start Deontay Johnson. I don't know, man. This Bears defense is ridiculous on the back end. It really is a tough defense. So, but if I had to pick one, Deontay and the flex, I would fade Xavier Legette. But again, injuries, buys, all that stuff could play factors on a lot of different rosters. And if that's a problem you're having, I have no problem with Deontay Johnson. What do you say, Nick?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. The Bears defense is very good on the back end. And even though Deontay Johnson had 7 targets and Xavier Legette's my boy, and he got 6 targets last week, scored that first touchdown, I was happy for him. But I don't know if you can trust either one this week. If you're going to go one, I think Xavier Legette built a good rapport last week.
Okay.
Somebody has to fill in for Adam Thielen, who is clearly Dalton's like go-to guy.
Okay. I do want to note Deontay Johnson did not practice Wednesday. So, but it sounds like it's like exercising caution. It doesn't sound like, Dave Canales, what did Canales say? He said they just wanted to get ahead of it. So I think they're just exercising caution with like their best player. Essentially.
Yeah, you're just like, being careful.
We need this dude. So okay, so you're taking Leggett over, or did I miss that?
I like Leggett. It's the homer.
You can't help it,
dude. I love Leggett. I can't help it. He's my guy.
You would flex him?
I'm flexing him this week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler and I say fade Leggett, start Deontay in the flex, and essentially Nick says go ahead and flex Leggett if you have him. You can run on Chicago. They've given up over 100 yards in 3 of the 4 games they've played so far. So you got to stay with Chuba this week, right?
Yeah.
Like, no problem. 48 total touches over the last 2 weeks.
Take that from any back.
Any back. I think Nick's over there nodding his head. I think he's in agreement, or maybe he's not. I think, to me, like, I don't know how you can pass any of that up, but apparently Nick thinks you can, so tell me what's up.
No, I don't think that you can. I'm laughing over here because Chuba Hubbard 2 weeks ago, I went blah when you mentioned him, and he has turned into like an RB2 every week. He's getting the ball consistently. You can start him this week. As much as I hate to say it, I'm coming around on Chuba Hubbard.
Well, and my thing was too, like, going off last year.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
No, he was good.
He was good enough.
He was RB2-ish.
But for... what, 6 weeks out of the year?
Yeah, and it was the end of the year.
It was the
right?
championship, yeah. So like it helped you. I get it.
I put a lot of stock in what I see end of year to turn over to the next year, though, too.
That's fair. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the offense with Bryce Young just put a really...
To me, it boils down to opportunity and volume. It will always, always, always boil down to that. It can be an ugly player. It doesn't mean... You know, Chuba Hubbard's not fancy.
No.
You know, when you hear Chuba Hubbard, you don't think Jahmyr Gibbs.
No.
You think, Chuba Hubbard, right? That's okay, though. I think that's okay. I think, you know, it's okay to change your opinion and come around. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm coming around.
The volume and opportunities there. And he's produced, like I said, 48 total touches over the last 2 weeks. That's 24 touches a game. You can't move off that. So Ty, you agree? RB2?
Yeah, but I think it's short lived. I don't think this Chuba Hubbard thing goes for this week. Absolutely.
Well, sure. Jonathan Brooks is going to be back eventually.
Yeah, I think he'll get some work.
As long as you have him.
Oh yeah, run him out there.
Use it. All right, let's move on to the Browns at the Commanders. Jaden Daniels gets his first crack at a solid defense. Any concerns or smash start?
Start.
No problem. I mean, I don't know how do you not?
I think he's going to be fine. Not saying there's going to be some mistakes. I agree with that, but I think from a fantasy perspective,
he'll probably have more than 4 incompletions.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I've said before, like, he hasn't really played a solid defense. I guess you could consider the Bucs that. Kind of.
You know, their secondary was so banged up when they played, though. But
yeah,
maybe the Giants, even more than the Bucs, were a little tougher.
But yeah, either way, until he proves anything differently, he's smash start every week. And you know what's crazy? He was free. Like, he was a lot of people's last pick.
Yeah.
In redraft leagues. And boy, if that's not a league-winning move. Can you start McLaurin with confidence this week?
Not with confidence.
No confidence?
Yeah, I mean, Warren's one of those players that's right on like a tough spot. I'm not starting him unless I like have to.
Okay. 24 targets over the last 3 weeks. It's Daniels is clearly trying to feed him. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, he's trying to get him the ball. That's the only thing that makes me feel confident starting him this week. I do like him a lot. It's just hard because it's the Browns defense. So you have to be careful, but you can get wide receiver 2 numbers out of Terry McLaurin this week. Just volume alone.
I want to see his snap share come up.
Yes.
He's in like the 73, 75% range. I don't understand. Like, why isn't it 97, 98, 99%?
He should be on the field every play.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Right.
So that part's a little weird to me. You would think for the percentage that he's off the field is probably plays where, like, he's not he's faded out in this play anyway. This play's for somebody else. But you would think he'd still want him out there to pull the coverage away.
Right. You still want him out there. Right.
That's just kind of odd to me. I don't quite understand that.
Yeah.
So I hope to see that come up.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Brian Robinson. He has been fantastic. I know the Cleveland defense is tough, but I mean, you cannot avoid this volume. He has been a game wrecker. Ty, what do you got?
Yeah, starting Brian Robinson for sure.
He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry over the first 4 weeks. I mean, averaging around 19 touches a game. You have to start, right? And like we've talked about this before, when there's no buys going on, he's probably a flex. Like he's probably your third or fourth best running back. I mean, he is a every week, no questions asked, smash start. You agree, Ty?
Yeah.
Nick's nodding his head. I think he agrees as well. So even though it's against the Commanders, can we feel good about starting any Browns?
Yeah. If you say if you feel good about it, yeah, no. But Jerome Ford and Jerry Jeudy, even Amari Cooper, man, they just aren't connecting, but the targets are there.
He should have had that big touchdown last week.
Yeah, I got pulled back.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick two off the Browns, I guess Jerome Ford and Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
You don't think you can start Watson this week? I'm just saying, if you're going to start him any week, this would be the one. We've seen Washington get taken care of all season, and I know we hate Watson. I know we do.
No.
But this is the week that he should do it.
The problem is it's not necessarily matchup thing. He's not making routine passes.
Right, he's just not good.
It's like airball and stuff, and I mean, I don't know, man. He's short hopping balls to guys. I'm not starting Deshaun Watson.
David Njoku came back to practice this week.
Did he?
Yeah.
I missed that.
He might not play this week. They did say that it's just the return to practice. He's in that window now. If he comes back, are you then interested in Watson?
No, because he won't throw the ball to him.
You don't think so?
I mean, unless he does like what Tyler was saying, and it's like, well, yeah. I did watch Joe Flacco tear it up with him. Maybe I should throw him the ball. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so dumb and simple.
Right.
But yeah, listen, give me Ford this week. If I have to pick one, give me Ford. And I like Ty's thought too. I mean, Judy's getting volume, and he's essentially like low teens.
Yeah,
about every week.
Him.
Yeah, I think you can flex Judy. I'm with Ty on that one. Okay. Let's move on to the Dolphins at the Patriots. Boy, you don't feel real good about starting a single player off either team here. Devin A-Chain? Ty?
Yeah.
Is he it? Can you bench Tyreek Hill?
No.
You can't, right? So, I mean, that sucks, though, man. I mean,
it's a different mindset than when Tua's in there, you hoping for that one big play.
That's it. And he just can't seem to. It's almost like they're just playing right over top of him. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to catch that short one and yak us to death, man. We're not letting. It's like they're just not letting it happen. They're not afraid at all of the quarterback play. So defenses are essentially being able to do just whatever they want to do. Then the problem is with the Dolphins players, you can't trade them right now. Again, everyone sees what you see too. I guess, I mean, my best thing to say with these Dolphins players is hopefully you can push through the thicket and come out on the other side and not too bad a shape record wise. And you're going to have to try to think outside the box a little bit for a few more weeks, because it doesn't sound like Tua's coming back till around week 8. So you're just going to have to kind of limp along, play the waiver wire, throw some darts, treat it as a little DFS maybe in a couple of your starting spots. I mean, that's just what you're going to have to do. Now, I was able to trade Tyreek Hill today in a redraft league, but it was a 3-for-3 trade. Good luck on a 1-for-1 trade with just Tyreek. I don't know what you can get back. I had to incorporate other things
Right.
to get more back to try to keep myself alive here. Yeah, like with Hill, what are you going to find on waivers outside of Dontavian Wicks? As far as benching a guy for a waiver guy, I don't think there's anyone outside. And Wicks is pushing it, but I would. If that was my sole problem on my team and I was able to add Dontavian Wicks, I would bench Tyreek Hill. Am I crazy for that?
Tyler Huntley played the Titans defense last week.
Right.
The Patriots are a lot different than the Titans defense. I'm not saying he's going to be better by a ton, but he should at least be able to take a little bit more advantage.
Okay, that's a fair point.
So I'm okay with Tyreek Hill this week.
Been so bad.
It's been bad. I know, but again, the Titans underrated defense.
Yep.
They are very, very good. They were going to shut down Huntley on a short notice. He got pulled in earlier that week to learn the offense. Like, it was not as bad as the Baker Mayfield Rams thing a few years ago, but it was still not enough time to learn that offense. There's a lot of motion in that offense. They do a lot. I'm hoping this week against a bad Patriots team, they should have more. But Devon Achane is the smash start. They should be able to run him a lot.
Patriots defense is 20th against the running back position. So, I mean, that doesn't hurt things. That helps. I'm not going to start any Patriots pass catchers, even with all the injuries and buys starting up. You got to look elsewhere, right, Ty?
Yeah.
I mean, Kendrick Bourne, I think, but he's back, right? But I just can't do it, man. How long are they going to do this to poor Jacoby Brissett? Are they just like, you're going to be the fall guy, go out there and take a thumping? We're just going to keep Drake May over here? And
I don't understand the point of that logic.
I don't get it either. Like, shouldn't they be taking a little more out of like the Sean Payton and Bo Nix playbook? Like, it looks ugly, and it should, and that's okay. Like, I've had people tell me like Bo Nix sucks, and it's like, what?
You're either going to grow through that or you're not.
Right. And you know what? To their point, maybe Bo Nix is not going to be good. But you can't base it off what you're seeing right now. And just like if Drake May was playing and dealing with what Jacoby Brissett's dealing with, I wouldn't just be like, well, he sucks. Come on, there's tons of context to go with this.
I think you can make the argument that Drake May's situation is still better than Bo Nix. I mean, that's a roster with a $40 million dead cap hit.
Yeah. He was going to be in good shape next year.
They got another dead cap hit next year for the Broncos. But
No, I mean Drake May.
Oh, yeah.
He should be in pretty good shape next year. They handle it right. I think they need an offensive coach. I think that's a personal thing for me, though. I prefer an offensive-minded head coach. I just do. But yeah, I can't start any of these guys. Any interest in Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson? You can run on the Miami defense.
I think the Patriots are going to try to. They're about the same, though, unfortunately. And neither is great. I think, no, I'll go with no. I have probably a couple guys out there that really put a lot of stock into Stevenson being their RB2, and it's not a great situation, but no.
Okay. I don't know that I would. The Ramondre Stevenson fumble thing is that's becoming a problem. So I don't know, like, if that's gonna. There's some pretty interesting numbers on Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson is starting to fall like flat on his face. It's getting hard to watch at this point. But Gibson is first in rush after contact per carry, third in rushing yards over expected per carry, and 10th in YPC in the whole league. He's 10. At some point, they're going to have to give him a better look. And he's a receiving back who lines up in the flex or in the slot position a lot. So you can flex Antonio Gibson, but Ramondre Stevenson's starting to get in like this scary, do I even start you category. Fumbles hurt.
He's putting himself right in the doghouse.
Yeah.
And just essentially, I mean, putting Gibson right on a leash and walking him right into his own position.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. I guess you can have it.
Here, you sleep on the couch.
The fumbling has become a problem.
Yeah.
It really has. I don't know that I would still entertain the thought of starting. I like those. That's interesting. I do like that information you just put out there. I got to see it first, though. That's just the way I think. I got to see this first. All right. Is that it for that game? Anything else? Or okay, let's move on to the Colts at the Jaguars. Anthony Richardson, last I checked, is day-to-day with oblique and abdominal strains. Day-to-day seems to have a good chance to play Sunday. Day-to-day is what you want to hear. It's week-to-week is what makes you go, eh. Tyler, you feel better about the receivers with Flacco, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. If Flacco plays, Pittman is a what this week?
Wide receiver 2.
Okay. And Downs?
Wide receiver 3 flex.
Okay. If Richardson plays, Pittman is a what this week?
Flex.
And Downs?
Not starting him.
I think it's the other way around when it's Richardson.
Maybe.
Downs seems to be more like if you watch Downs, he seems to be more what fits the things that Anthony Richardson does. I feel like Downs actually has this weird little boost with Richardson, and then it flips when Flacco steps in, and it flips back to Pittman.
Because Flacco can make those throws.
Yes. Those quick underneath type thing. I mean, that's what Josh Downs does. I feel like if I'm not saying you should start Downs, but the way injuries and buys are right now, if you're sitting there going like, man, I need to flex a receiver this week, Downs is somewhat available in the vast majority of leagues. I think you could pick up Downs this week and potentially flex him with Anthony Richardson. If you have to. This is somewhat of a long shot. This is not, but maybe you have injury and bye week issues this week. I don't have a problem with Josh Downs in the flex.
Downs only has 11 receptions this year. And I think a good chunk of them came from Flacco.
They did.
So I'm sticking with Michael Pittman flex, not starting Downs if Richardson's in.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah, this is, like I said, it's more of a, like you can't go to the waivers and add Pittman, I guess, is like more my point. But you know what? If I think you can still do what I said, even if Flacco plays. I think Downs might be a fine flex for a week. What do you think, Nick?
I don't know. Probably not. The targets just aren't there enough. You have to think Pittman would be the flex. I don't like either one, regardless. Even against the Jaguars defense, it just seems like they're not getting enough targets for fantasy football purposes. But whether it's Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco looked okay last week throwing to wide receivers. It definitely helped, but I don't know.
Quick correction: Josh Downs has had 14 targets, but still, he's had 11 catches. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
11, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, didn't do a whole lot with it against, but he played Chicago.
Michael Pittman's only had 17 catches.
Catches or targets?
29 targets.
17 catches.
17 catches.
Well, I think a lot of that lies on Anthony Richardson and just zinging it 50 yards past.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is a tough room. This is a really tough room to deal with. I'm going to stand on the fact that I think you can, if you have to. I think you can flex Downs.
There's a lot of week five buys you're dealing with right now. If you're an Eagles guy and you've got, not that Devontae Smith or AJ Brown might have played this week, but if you had them, you got to fill that spot. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't love it.
I'm not pounding the table and championing for him.
Right.
I just think he's another one of those guys that can do a lot with one ball. And if you're in that tight of a position,
Yeah, but so is Alec Pierce. Like Alec Pierce can be that guy too.
yeah, but Downs missed the first couple weeks. He wasn't even there.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like I don't like it.
Okay, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. This isn't like a crazy, big topic. I just think if you're backed into a corner, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, if you have no other choice, I can see it.
Jonathan Taylor is most likely not playing this week. I think everyone here is in agreement. Fade the whole backfield.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyler, do you think if Peterson was to take over play calling from Press Taylor, it would improve the Jags offense?
I gotta think so.
Because
this track record alone,
what I'm seeing is not okay. I like that. The fourth and goal play call. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't.
That was the grossest thing I have ever seen. I mean, you gotta give your receivers a chance and let Lawrence throw the ball there. I mean, I feel like Dougie P draws up something a little different for that play. Colts defense is terrible against the pass. Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, or both this week?
Both. I actually think I like Brian Thomas a little bit more, but both.
Okay, I would agree. Yeah, give me Thomas. 18 targets for Brian Thomas and 22 for Christian Kirk. So there could be something starting to brew up here. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I think you can flex them both this week, at least. I do. I'm in agreement with Ty here. Brian Thomas just feels better.
Yeah, listen, they're both splashy kind of receivers, but I agree. Brian Thomas feels better.
When does Gabe Davis get involved?
I don't really know if he does.
When can you trust Gabe Davis? Because
Never.
I mean, you have to think that he's better than both of them. At least for the deep ball. And maybe is it because Trevor Lawrence doesn't have time to get it there?
I don't know. I'd say Brian Thomas is pretty solid with the deep ball.
He is. That's like why they drafted him.
Sure. I don't know. I think Gabe Davis was a bit of a waste to even bring him in. Like I mean, I get it. You need a third receiver.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is. Give me Brian Thomas. I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah,
Brian Thomas over Christian Kirk, but they're both very startable this week. I'm not sure what to say about Travis Etienne. He's a flex, man. I mean, where are you, Tyler, with Travis Etienne? This is, I will say,
I'll start Travis Etienne this week.
This should
I will
be
say,
a good week.
And I know the Jaguars offense has not looked good, but they have played the Texans, the Bills, and the Browns. That's 3 of their 4 defenses that they've went up against. Not making excuses for them. It's been ugly.
That is
those
a fair
are some
point.
pretty serious defenses too.
Yes.
Falcons were the other one, so that's not a cakewalk either.
This is one where he should wake up.
I really, if I'm an ETN owner, I want big things out of ETN this week.
Could be a get right week.
I hope so.
Okay. Evan Ingram's still questionable with a hamstring injury, so do with that what you want. You're probably not going to see him this week. So, all right, let's move on to the Bills at the Texans. I'm excited for this game personally. Could be a fun game. The points total over under is 47. Don't hate that. Josh Allen bounce back week, Tyler?
Yeah.
You'd have to think so.
I just don't remember a time where Josh Allen had 2 really bad games back to back.
I felt kind of bad watching him.
He was up against it, and there's going to be some more games that look like that this year, unfortunately.
They bullied him so bad. Yeah, I mean, you start Josh Allen every week. I really hope he bounces back this. I'd love to see it. How do we feel about James Cook this week? This is a tough run defense.
I think you got to start him just from what he's done, but I don't, this is definitely a temper expectations matchup.
Yeah, I would have to agree. He's averaging about 4.7 yards per carry, but the Dolphins game heavily inflates that average. He had about 2 RB1 weeks. He had 2 RB1 weeks, 1 flex week, and 1 total dud. That would be the last game against Baltimore, where the whole team got bullied. Houston is 6th against the run at this point. So, as you said, we probably should temper some expectations, but I don't know. This doesn't feel like a get-right game. Do you think, Nick?
No, I think they're fine. You have to start him.
Sure.
So he'll get you a dozen points, maybe.
This is a temper expectations week.
I'm in the same boat.
Okay, it's not a good week for quote unquote get right, like as it is for ETN. Okay, let's move on to Khalil Shakir. Did not practice Wednesday, dealing with an ankle injury, but I tell you what, as far as what this guy's ADP was, he has been fantastic.
Yeah, he's doing amazing for you.
Monitor the injury. Keep your eyes on it. He's absolutely the preferred target for Josh Allen. He's been targeted 19 times over 4 weeks and has caught 18 of those targets. Just about doubles Coleman's targets. He's gotten 11. Kincaid has 18 targets over that same span. The Texans are third against the tight end position, but have, who they've played? They've played whoever Indy is utilizing at tight end on any given play. Cole Kmet, Brenton Strange, and the combo of Johnny Munt and Josh Oliver. That's who these guys have played. So that is a hidden lie of a stat right there. I'm not buying that at all. So where do you sit this week with Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid?
As long as Khalil Shakir is healthy, you're flexing him every single week.
He has not scored less than 10 points.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Ty, good call. Yeah, I see a pump in your fist over there. Great call.
I like Keon Coleman, of course. Dalton Kincaid's really starting to come alive. It's helping the tight end landscape. I'll say it. You guys didn't. I will. But Dalton Kincaid should have a good game.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I don't buy the Kincaid number. I like Kincaid I don't buy the Houston's rank against the tight end position. I'm not when I went back and looked at that, I'm like, well, they haven't played anybody. So again, it's a number I don't buy. I love Kincaid this week, and I think as long as Khalil Shakir plays, he's set it and forget it flex for the time being. What do you think, Ty?
Yeah, I'm gonna raise the question if Khalil Shakir doesn't play.
It's Coleman. It has to be. It's Coleman and Kincaid. The Curtis Samuel thing is not. It's just not happening.
Doesn't seem to be.
No, it is what it is. So yeah, it'd have to be.
I'm not falling for that again. This whole Curtis Samuel thing going to a new team, and you think it's going to be. I'm done with that.
I'm done with it again. Yeah, I'm as done with it as I am Pitts and Andrews.
Ooh,
I'm done with it. So okay, you're starting Stroud most likely. Bills can be tough on the QB position, so just go and understanding that possibility. So again, you're starting Stroud, you're starting Diggs, you're starting Nico. But Buffalo has been legitimately pretty good against wide receivers. So my question is, if Tank Dell is healthy and plays, could this be a Tank Dell week with Buffalo just making things like a little more difficult than usual for Nico and Diggs? What do you think, Ty?
I buy into the revenge game stuff a little bit, so I think they're going to try to find a way to get Diggs the ball.
Let me say this real. Oh, that's a good point. Let me say this real quick. When I say this could be a Tank Dell week, I don't mean Tank Dell supersedes Nico and Diggs. I mean Tank Dell has a good, serviceable, startable kind of week. Is that a possibility?
Definitely a possibility. I'm going to lean more towards they're going to try to get Stephon Diggs the ball, and it's a Nico Collins week every week.
It's crazy that when I put these notes down, the revenge game, it went straight over my head.
Yeah.
It literally, until just now you said it, it's like, oh, you dummy. Yeah, it didn't even, that's a good point. I like that call. It feels like things can be a little bit tougher than the average against these receivers. What do you think on Tank Dell, Nick?
I think it's fun. I think it's fun to think that he could be a flex this week. I like that. This game is going to be an explosive game. I think both teams are going to throw all over the field. This has potential to be like a game of the year type game where it's 80 points scored, like crazy game.
Yeah.
So the wide receivers in this game, you can start 2 from the Bills and you can start 3 from the Texans.
Vegas thinks it'll be a fun game with that over-under total.
Yeah.
I mean, 47 is not a low number.
No, it's going to be a fun game, I think.
Okay. Joe Mixon, still questionable with an ankle. Did not practice Wednesday. I don't have any interest, but Tyler, is Cam Akers a flex if he plays, or do you just need to look somewhere else? Like, let me ask you this. Cam Akers with the full workload, essentially, the vast majority of it, or Braylon Allen?
Braylon Allen.
Yeah? That's crazy. We're saying that. It's insane.
I just want to back up just a tiny bit here, though. Like,
sure.
I don't like Cam Akers because as much as I would like to think that this is going to be the blowout game, and I hope it is. I'm ready for one of those games, for sure. This Texans defense is still serious.
They're really
and
tough.
Buffalo just got really bullied by the Ravens. There's a blueprint there. Buffalo's going to have to figure something out in this game for it to be that type of game.
Yeah. This is where I want to see Josh Allen continue that kind of narrative that you and I talked about, like, I think 2 episodes ago, where he's like figuring out this whole, hey, I lost my number one guy, Diggs.
And I think
now I'm learning how to spread it. It just didn't go his way.
I think he will.
Week. Yeah.
But this is a tough defense to do it against.
Well, I think they seem to be tougher against the run than they are the pass. That bodes better.
It does.
But it is a good defense, man.
And you feel like some work can be done over the middle, but not seeing the separation from Keon Coleman at this point. And if you're running Mac Hollins on the outside, like, these guys got to get open too.
Yeah.
And the pressure is going to be there. I know Allen is Allen. He can do awesome things. Guys are going to be in his face. They're going to have to figure something out because, like I said, the Ravens just laid out a blueprint for how to make his life difficult, and you got another solid defense coming to town.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to our last game, the Ravens at the Bengals. You are starting Lamar Jackson. Do not get cute. Please, you're starting King Henry. Don't get cute. I expect Henry to do quite well against this run defense.
Yeah. Maybe not as good as last week, but I expect a really good game.
Yeah, a little more. Maybe another vintage run. Maybe one of them. Yeah. Bengals.
It was so good that happened early in that game. Like, just boom. Like, I was like, yes.
I love Derrick Henry, man. It's just watching him. It's like he's such an anomaly of a person. It doesn't make any sense when I watch him.
Right.
He ran over 21 miles an hour. How did he do that?
You forget too, like, you're like, well, you're just watching the game. Then like you see him stand next to a linebacker. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that's why it's a problem.
Guys get hurt trying to tackle Derrick Henry at a consistent, like, he's not even dropping his shoulder. I'm watching guys go in on his legs and it's like they just hit a maple tree at full tilt.
Yeah.
It's so insane. The Bengals could be without Trey Hendrickson and Jermaine Pratt this week on defense.
That'd be a serious problem.
It's going to be a real problem if that's the case. You should start Zay Flowers. Game flow kind of dictated fantasy output, I think, a little bit here. After 2 down weeks, bounce back for Zay Flowers.
Yeah, give me Zay Flowers this week.
I'll take some Zay Flowers. Listen, I just got a trade for Zay Flowers, and I couldn't believe what I got. I mean, people are down on him, and this isn't a dynasty league. I made 2 trades for Zay Flowers over the last 24 hours. One in dynasty, one in redraft. The redraft one, sure, but the dynasty one, like, dude was just acting out on him, and I got Flowers in a second for Addison in a third. I don't quite understand it. I don't.
What?
This is offered to me.
Okay, well, yeah, good for you.
He stated a little before this week, like, he got Flowers, but like wasn't really in love with him. And when he was telling me that, I was thinking in the back of my head, we're going to be talking here eventually, buddy, because I'm going to get some Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
What do you think of Zay Flowers this week?
Loving him. He's still the PPR machine. He's going to get the ball. It was 2 rough weeks. I get it. Oh no, I'm worried, but he'll bounce back. And the Bengals defense, you can take advantage of.
I would agree. Are we dropping Mark Andrews now?
You're dropping Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is droppable.
Another 0.
It's insane. It makes no sense to me. Ty, are you dropping Andrews?
Yeah.
It's over, right?
Yeah, there's waiver wire tight ends that are getting better numbers than Andrew at this point.
Harbaugh come out and he's just like, no, Andrews will have his big games. Don't worry about that. I don't know.
Harbaugh's not throwing him the ball.
I know. Nor is he calling plays.
Right.
Ravens are 20th against the QB position. Faith in Burrow this week?
Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah.
Strong word.
Yeah.
Nick's nodding his head. Nick agrees.
I'd confidently start Joe Burrow this week.
Okay. I don't really know who I'm going to have that I'm going to start over him.
And I just think, T. Higgins, another week back in the system, getting his guys. I think it'll be fine for
We
Joe Burrow
we
this
said a
week.
few weeks ago, like Burrow he needs everyone to get healthy and back on the same page with the Chase thing. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I think we're getting there. Speaking of Burrows and his receivers, what are your thoughts on his receivers this week? Let's start with Jamar Chase.
He's still in the wide receiver 1 category.
Well, of
for me.
course.
So yeah,
But-
wide receiver 1. You'd like to see it a little bit more. You had 3 catches last week.
That
correct?
one catch saved his game.
It did.
It was
It-
amazing.
Right, and it was an awesome run after catch.
That display of contact
Sideline
balance,
work. Yeah.
unreal.
I don't think there's many games where Jamar Chase only gets 3 catches. I don't think this is one of them.
No, I think you would imagine things start picking up and
Yeah.
getting back to where.
This is another problem though, where the offensive line is holding back the offense a little bit.
Yep. T. Higgins is a receiver too.
Yep.
Okay. Nick's nodding. Nick agrees. Baltimore is 22nd against the receiver position, so they pretty well stifled Buffalo, but Kansas City, Miami, and Dallas receivers, they did fine against this defense. So
Joe Cool will be fine.
yeah, it'll be all right. It's hard with bye weeks. It's really hard with bye weeks and injuries all toppled on top of each other. But should we be fading Zach Moss and Chase Brown this week, Tyler?
No.
Tell me why.
I think I fade Zach Moss, and I'm taking the Chase Brown side of that every week just because I just think there's so much more upside there, so much more big playability, and I just think Chase Brown's going to get the work. He'll rack up catches in PPR leagues. He'll get a couple here. That'll save some face a little bit. If he gets in the end zone, great. I mean, last week, Zach Moss got stuffed, and then Chase Brown ended up getting the goal line work. I'm not saying that continues, but I mean, it happened.
Okay.
And I think Chase Brown is just going to be eventually, it gets more of the role.
Right. Yeah, listen, Ravens are 4th against the running back position. It could make things a little tougher. Where are you at on this, Nick?
I don't know. I think those stats lie a little bit. The Ravens are getting up on a lot of the teams that they're playing. So the other teams, or at least a close game, so they're throwing all over them. They're abandoning the run against the Ravens. So it looks good on paper. You're thinking, oh, number 1 rush defense, like, can't start a running back against them, but I think you can. Especially, the Bengals should be able to keep up pretty well.
Okay.
I like Zach Moss more right now, but Chase Brown did vulture touchdowns this week.
Yeah, I'm in a position where I have to start Zach Moss. I mean, I like your point there, though. I mean, the game scripts against the Ravens, what they've been doing to teams, it kind of takes the opposing team's running back right out of it. So if a team can hang with them or have the lead,
You should be okay.
you should. Well, I guess if Cincinnati can do exactly what we just said, hang with them, we might see that number change.
Yeah,
a little bit after
they'll
this
probably drop out of 1.
week. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's. I guess that's it. That's all the 1 o'clock games. That's a Thursday night game. It's the London game. Any final thoughts?
No, man, I'm happy to be here. The whole gang this time. I'm glad to be a part of it.
This was fun. We're glad that we found you through our buddy Corey.
Yeah, shout out Corey.
Yeah.
Thanks for this.
Thanks for setting it up, Corey.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you realize what you've done. It's amazing.
Oh, he knows. We
Yeah.
talk too much. He knows.
We all appreciate Corey for it, and we're all really happy that you're here. How about you, Mitchell?
I'm grateful to have the gang here. Big things coming. Make sure the listeners, you guys are checking our Twitter and everything. So we're going to be updating there, kind of what's going on with the podcast.
Yeah, there's going to be some good changes coming here soon. Things are going to pick up a little bit. It's still going to be slow. Next year is going to be much better, we're sure. But there are some changes coming along, and we will be sure to update you on all of that. Tyler, what do you have? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, great to have Nick here. I'm not giving Corey a shout out because that bitch doesn't ever. We can't ever work a trade out. It's just terrible. Like, so frustrating. No, I love you, Corey.
Yeah.
Great to have Nick here. Props to Mitchell again. Just the way everything's shaking out. A lot of extra work for him tonight, but we know Mitchell will crunch it out.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fun having an extra guy here.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm looking forward to lots of episodes with a whole gang. So, all right, that's it for today's show. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. Remember, our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings are now available in the description. Just click the corresponding link. They are available as well on our Twitter. Also, check the description for instructions on how to get your trades graded. Join us next time for our Week 5 4 o'clock games, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football preview. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. For the love of God, will you please tell your friends? See you next time, everybody.
Yeah.